Hi guys, happy Monday. I hope your week's off to a good start. Today I'm going to be reviewing some baked eyeshadows from Jordana. So this is a line that you're probably really used to seeing around your Walgreens stores and stuff. My Walgreens has a pretty limited supply of Jordana stuff. The full line you might be more likely to see at a store like K-Mart, or maybe it's just some different drugstores here and there. My friend Kristin Game here on YouTube actually found these for me. I think she knew I had limited access to this brand, and she picked these up because she's always got the best interests of Beauty Broadcast Express at heart. So, Kristin, I appreciate you sending these my way so I could try them out. The colors that I have today that I'll be talking about are Green Mist, which is a shimmery green. It's got a little bit of like a goldeny almost sheen to it. I've also got Purple Perfection, a nice shimmery purple, and then I've got Espresso Lane, which is the brown, not an entirely matte finish there. I'd call it more of a satin finish. You can see, typical of baked products, the shadow is domed up a little bit, and you got your sponge tip applicator as well. These can be applied wet or dry, and that does make a difference in how they come off and how intense they are. And overall, I feel like these are kind of an average eyeshadow for me. I don't find them to be anything super outstanding, but I also don't think they're, you know, the worst thing out there either. First off, if you were to just touch these and swatch these dry with your finger, I think you'd feel like the texture is very, very dry. Just to the touch. You know how I've described some shadows as being really soft and almost creamy? These are not that. And there's just not a lot of cling, like if you rub a little bit between your fingers, they're just really, really dry and could rub right away. Whenever you've got shadows like that, I think using a primer underneath them helps them out a lot because it just gives them that little bit of a moist base to cling to, and that can help the shadows stand out more. Right here on top, these are the shadows swatched dry. And if you're used to really, really super pigmented shadows, you might look at that green, for example, and say, oh, given what it looks like in the pan, I would expect something, you know, much more bright to show up in the swatch. So you see what I mean by kind of, you know, dry, not amazingly intense for the way, you know, these shadows look in the pan. Below them, I've swatched them wet, so I've gotten my finger a little bit damp, put it into the product, and then did one swatch down there. And you can see there's more shine, there's a little more intensity. When I look at my habits of using eyeshadow, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, using them wet is not something I do often. I know that it gives a nice, you know, maybe richer, more intense look, more shimmery look, but it is just that extra step, and it just isn't quite as quick and easy to pull off as wearing shadows dry. So some people might see that, like I do, as, you know, just a little bit of an extra thing to have to do to get an intense look with the shadow, when there are actually plenty of shadows that could come off this intense just dry, you know, without adding water. As far as how these stack up with other drugstore baked shadows, some of my favorite drugstore baked shadows are those hard candy duos. I mean, there's an example of baked shadows that are really rich and pigmented. I think even the e.l.f. baked eyeshadows, I would put them kind of a little bit above these because, again, they're not quite as dry to the touch, and when you apply them, you just get a little more intensity. And if you're not familiar with the e.l.f. baked shadows, here's what one of those looks like. This is Toasted. Again, just to touch it, you know, it's more of a rich feel, and then a lot of intensity just with a dry swatch. So I just used these three shades in my eye look today, so I'll show you how I did it. I first used Green Mist, and I again had a primer on my eyes first, and then I applied this just all over my lid. And then I took the brown just to give myself a little bit of contrast in the crease. You know, not to make a huge, you know, deep dark crease color statement, but I applied that with a smaller brush first, and then continued on and blended it out a little bit. Then on my lower lash line, I used the purple, and I did use it wet. So to do that, I just mist my hand with a little bit of water that I have in a water bottle here. I used an angled liner brush and dampened it, and then I went right into this product and then right under my lower lash line. And I feel like I got a nice, you know, intensity with that shade. Overall, even for under $3 a piece, I just don't think these shadows are that impressive. I think there are plenty of other great drugstore shadows that you could get, and if you like the baked formulas, you know, I mentioned e.l.f. and Hard Candy, I think those really perform nicely wet or dry. Here, I think for the most intense look, you've almost got to add some water to these. Thank you again to Kristin for sending me those products, and have a great day. Bye, guys.